Right, good morning, Mr. Lesham here, and we are still with trig. Easy lesson today for change. Trig values represented by letters. What do they want from us? Okay, they tell us, look, let's say tan 22 we represented by the letter K. We don't need to find K, we don't need to enter that in the calculator. They just said, let's call tan 22K. Write the following in terms of K. Okay, so I've got tan 158. Okay, again, they don't want me to put that into the calculator and give a number. They want me to write it in terms of K. So, how's 158? You've got to think about the angles. What's 158 and 22? How are they related to each other?
158 plus 22 is 180.
Okay, so in other words, what we can use, we can say, okay, that is tan. Normally I wouldn't do this step, I'll just do it for now. At 158 is basically 180 minus 22, right? Okay? Okay, and you're right, but I'm just going to go slowly. Now I know that tan minus, I should always have this circle in front of me here, okay? So we've got, if this is in the first quadrant, I've got theta. In the second quadrant, what do we call that angle here? How do I move from the first to the second? 180 minus theta. This is 180 plus theta, and this one
360
minus theta. Or I always like to remember it's just also minus theta. So if I want to go to here, that's going to be the same as tan 22. But I heard you guys saying yes, there's a minus in front of it because we know tan is negative here. And as Eugene said already, I know that tan 22 is K, so the answer is minus K. Okay? Alright, so normally you don't need to go all the way. I would say from here, maybe go directly to there, and then minus K. Okay, I'll just pause here for a second. I've got tan minus 22. Okay, what happens to tan minus an angle? Is it stays positive or it goes negative when tan goes to the fourth? It's negative, it's 4. So it's going to be minus tan 22, which means again it's minus K. Okay. Right. Sine 22. That's a little bit more difficult. That's a little bit more difficult. What I would start here, just want to make sure I'm starting in the easiest way. Let's see what they do. Okay, yes. Right, so let's just leave it for a second. Let's find out what is tan 22.
Tan 22 is...
Okay, I know it's K, yeah?
Yes, sir.
But what is tan? What do we learn in identity? So it's sine 22 over cosine 22. Okay? Now, okay, I'm just going to pause here for a second. So sine 22 is a little bit more difficult. Okay, and what the textbook do, and as I said to you, I will go with that, and I'll think later if I've got maybe an easier way, but I'll go with what they say. Okay, so we are okay. I will draw it. Yeah, I'll draw it. No, it's fine. Okay, so I've got. Let's say this is 22. Okay, and I know that tan 22 is a K, right?
Yes.
Right. This is your X, and this is your Y, and this one is R. Right? So, what we're going to say is, we're going to make the simplification. What is tan 22? Tan 22, which is K, okay, is basically Y over X, right? Tan is opposite divided by the adjacent, okay? Yeah? So, now, to get rid of that X, let's just call X 1. Now, can you do that? Well, you can. If it's, let's say X is 2, then Y will be just double that. Okay, I'll make it, that's why I don't really like about this method, but let's stay with that, okay? Just make the X equal 1. That means that Y is equal to K. Can you see what I've done now? Okay? I just said, okay, right? That divided by that is K. If I make that 1, then that's simply just K. Okay? Now let's go through all of it, and then I'll give you a chance to find the answer. Now, if this is K, this is 1, this is R. What is sine 22?
Sine 22
In terms of ratio of sides?
Opposite.
So K,
K
K over
R.
R. Now K is fine. I can use K because I need to express it in terms of K. But R, I don't know what is R. So I need to figure out what is R. Okay? What can I use to find out what is R in terms of K? Pythagoras. So we're going to write R squared equal what?
K squared plus 1 squared.
Okay, in other words, K squared plus 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that means R is equal to what?
K plus 1, K minus
K
Square root.
Just square root.
K squared plus 1.
That's it. Okay?
And you don't.
I can't. Is this equal to K plus 1?
So
Can
isn't
I
that
just
a-
square root the
difference
square?
between square
Leave it like
Is,
that.
is that a difference?
Yes.
Difference of a square with a minus. Is that a difference?
No.
Oh yes.
Okay? But this is obviously wrong, guys. Do not let me catch you do that, okay? The square, we can't get rid of that square by doing a square root here. That's wrong, okay? It just stays like that. There's nothing else to do. Okay? Right, now I can rewrite this. Okay, I'll write that again. Sine 22. Instead of K, I'll just write K. Instead of R, what should I write?
Square root K plus
Square root K squared plus 1. I know it's not very pretty, but it's the answer. Okay, I'll just repeat everything, and if you still have a question, I'll answer it, okay?
You substitute it now.
That's the answer. What did they ask me to do? Write the following in terms of K. I don't know what K is. If they tell me now, okay, K equals 7, yes, then you can substitute. But all they asked me is just like I had here, minus K and then minus K, now I've got this bit. Let me remind you again how we did it, okay? So, I know that tan 20, I just draw the triangle. First of all, draw the triangle. I know that tan is opposite divided by adjacent. Okay? I make the adjacent, which is at the bottom, the denominator, I make it 1 to make it easy. And then in that case, the y here, that divided by that is k, so that is just k. Now I can use Pythagoras to find r. Okay, it's the square root of k squared plus 1. And then I can express r instead of k in terms of k. And then I substitute in sine 22 using the same triangle. Sine 22 is k divided by r. So we get that answer. Okay, I'll pause for questions. Okay guys, you've already gone doing your practices or whatever it is. Rugby, hockey in 37 degrees heat. Woo! I decided I'll finish this video here. We will do it tomorrow, but I might as well just finish it here. So another example. Okay, we're told that sine 40 is m, and the instruction that we're given is to express these trig values in terms of m. So I repeat, you can't just put in your calculator sine 320. Okay, so the first two are really easy. Okay, so sine 320, whatever we want to do, we want to reduce it to an angle in the first quadrant. So 320 is in the fourth quadrant. Maybe let's just do that quickly again. Okay. So that's really the basic. Theta, 180 minus theta, 180 plus theta, and 360 minus theta. So if I want to go, this is obviously in the fourth quadrant. If I want to go to the first quadrant, I do 360 minus, and we know that sine is negative here, so it's going to be minus sine 40. Okay, I did 360 minus 320. Okay, my sine 40 is m, so the answer is minus m. Easy peasy. Okay, sine 140 is obviously here. Okay, so I can write it as sine 180 minus 4, or 180 minus 140, which is 40. And sine is positive here, so it's just going to be positive. So the answer is positive m. That's pretty easy. Okay. Now, cos 230. You're obviously going to have to use some cofunction, okay? But what I really recommend you is, first of all, always, first of all, convert it into an angle in the first quadrant, okay? So 230, I'm in the third quadrant, okay? So I'm going to do, I'll take away 180, so that's going to be cos, what is that? Cos 50, right? I did 230 minus 80, or 50 plus 180 is 230, okay? Now I need to think about the sine. Well, cos is negative here, right? Sine, so it's going to be minus cos 50. Okay, so I first of all reduced it to an angle in the first quadrant. Now I'm in a bit of a problem because the value that I've got for m is sine 40, not cos, sine 40. But I'm stuck here with cosine 50, or in fact minus cosine 50. But then I got to remember my cofunction, okay? So sine 90 minus theta is cosine theta, and cosine 90 minus theta, it's good to repeat that, is sine theta. So I know that cosine 50 and sine 40 is the same thing. Okay, so I can write it as minus sine 40. I still have that minus, can't just drop it. So the answer is minus n. Okay, so again, first of all take a big angle, reduce it to an angle in the first quadrant, and only then use your cofunction if you have to. For the next one, it's a little bit more difficult, okay? So, yeah, what is tan 220? Let's first of all reduce it to a small angle, okay? So I know that tan is positive here, so I can take away 180 and I can write it as tan 40, right? 40 plus 180 is 220. But the problem is, for tan, really, what do I need for tan? For tan, I need a sine and a cosine. And I only have the sine. I don't know what the cosine is. Okay, so now I can do a little trick here. In fact, I know what cosine... Yeah, I can do a little trick here, but I won't do it. I will use what they use in the textbook. Whenever you need to use other things, other than, you can't just do these tricks, reduce it to the angle in the first quadrant, and then maybe do a cofunction. You must draw the angle, the triangle, okay? So this is our triangle, okay? Our angle is 40 degrees, okay? And as always, to begin with, you just say, okay, the angle opposite, I'll call it y, then the adjacent x, and this is r, okay? Now you got to look at what we've got here. Sine 40 is n, okay? So what is sine 40? If I look at this triangle, it's opposite divided by hypotenuse. That's why it has to, this should not be an effort for you to do that. You should do it like this, you know? So sine 40 is y over r. Okay? And that is equal to n. Okay, I'll just pause here. Okay. So I know that sine 40 is n, so I'm going to rewrite that as n equal y over r. Now, you remember last time when we were given tan, we were told tan 22 was equal something, we made x equal 1, because then y divided by x was just y. But now we've got y over r, okay? Now, it will be nice for me, if I want y to be m, then r, what should r be? Correct, r should be 1. If I take r to be 1, okay, instead, let's say r equal 1, if that's the case, I'm going to write here 1, then that means y is equal m. Okay, so I'm going to write down, I'll keep the black here, so you'll see that originally, okay, we just put x, y, and z, x, y, and r. But now I know that when r is 1, y is m. Okay, now they're asking me, what are they asking me? They're asking me to find tan 40. Now tan 40, tan is always opposite over adjacent, is y over x. The y I already know, y is m. But I don't have the x. Okay? So I'm going to erase these now because I think they're kind of confusing. So I know this is m, this is 1. I need to know x. How do I do it? Same old story, Pythagoras. Okay? So 1 square equal m squared plus x squared. That means x squared is 1 minus m squared. And that means x is equal to square root 1 minus m squared. Okay? And now I'll put it all in there. Okay? Tan 40 is y over x. The y we said is simply m. Okay? So it's m divided by, oh, you know what? I'm running out of space. Let's write it down here. Tan 40 is y over x. The y is m. And the I need to divide by x. The x is square root of 1 minus m squared. And that, my friend, is the answer. Let's just check to make sure it is. Okay, cool. Coolio. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.